You know, I always knew that I saw the world a little bit differently than everybody else, but I think I may have done something recently that really proved that point. You're given choices in life, and how you the choice that you make says a lot about you. So, I'm wondering what this choice says about me. Hey there everybody, this is Mike with Low Def Media, and today we are going to be talking about a recent purchase. We're going to be talking about the DJI Osmo Pocket 2. And because I have to hold it in order to talk to you about it, I have decided to use my DJI Osmo Pocket 1 as my primary camera today because I think they're both very similar. They shoot 4K, 30 frames a second. The DJI Osmo Pocket Action shoots up to 120 in 4K, a little bit newer, a little larger, sensor size, but because, I'm nostalgic and those kind of things. Anyway, using the DJI Osmo Pocket. Okay, so let's talk about this. Now, there are a lot of videos online about this particular camera. Now, some of them are rave reviews, others are a little more critical, some are newer, some are older. A lot of them go really in depth into the specs and what you can expect to get from this camera. And so I'm not going to repeat all of that stuff and go into this is how you use it and these are all the settings and all that. No, what I'm going to do today, the purpose of today's video, is to give you my impression as to how I think this camera can and should be utilized, because I do see value in it. And at the beginning I said I don't see things like everybody else, and that is the case. I buy camera equipment that's usually 1 or 2 years older. I wait for the initial rush, everybody to go out and buy it, and then I go out. And this camera that I'm using is a prime example. It's the Osmo Pocket. I bought it probably 2 years after it was released. There was already the 2. We're waiting on the 3, but I like the form factor. I like the specs. Got it at a good price, and so it's a very reliable camera, and that's kind of the thought process behind the Action 2. I waited for everybody to give their 2 cents, saw what you could do with this camera, and so I said, you know what? Now's the time. It was an after Christmas sale, and so I was able to get this for relatively inexpensive price. But let's talk about it, because a lot of those videos that I mentioned show this camera being compared to, let's go with a GoPro 10, GoPro 11, or the Insta360 RS. They compare it to other action cameras. I don't think that's a really accurate comparison, because this camera, to me, does not fit the action camera blueprint. You drop it and it's going to get dinged. It's got a very fragile front glass here. And so I don't see it as being a competitor in that arena. What I see instead is it competing with this, the Insta360 Go 2. I think they're very similar. Now, before we get into this, I think I would be remiss if I didn't show you at least some footage from the Action 2 in the hands of a non-professional. So let's quickly show some footage outside, and I think you'll see some pictures. I think that the photo capability, even though it's only 12 megapixel, is much better than you would expect if you saw some of those other videos. So let's quickly look at some footage, then we'll come back. Okay, so this is an outside walking test with the DJI Osmo Action 2. I've got it on a Manfrotto mini tripod, so all the stabilization is going to be performed inside the camera. Now, I'm sure that the stabilization is going to be great, because that's one of the things that the Action 2 is really known for. But what I'm concerned about is the microphones. I was unable to connect an external microphone using the DJI mic adapter earlier today, so we are using the internal microphones now. And there is a bit of a breeze, so I'm wondering how that's going to impact the audio quality in today's test. Now the sun is behind the camera, so it's lighting up my face, so that should be pretty good. But I am going through some different lighting situations here with shade, so it'll be interesting to see how the camera performs. And I am interested to see the field of view, because this is, I think somebody said, a 10 millimeter field of view, this lens, and so it's pretty wide, and I've only got the camera about half an arm's distance away. So again, very interested to see how the results come out, especially the audio test. All right, now I've taken the camera module off of the tripod and I'm just holding it with my hand. Hopefully my hand's not in the shot. And really interested to see, one, what the stabilization's like when it's handheld, field of view, because it is a little bit closer to my face now, and also the audio quality, because I'm hopefully I'm not covering up any of the microphone jacks or microphones, period. So how does this look compared to holding it on a selfie stick / a tripod? Okay, so in that montage, those video clips, you saw where I was holding it on the Manfrotto little tripod here, and so that helped with some of the stabilization and to get it far enough out of, hold it out so that you get a nice frame shot. But then I did a handheld, and I think for me that's the real selling point, the real value in this camera, because when you take this off and you can hold it just like this, that is very small. This I took it running this past weekend, and I was able to put this in my pocket. And as much as I like taking this camera, I almost have to carry it like this, because this part in here is so small that I wouldn't trust putting that in my pocket. But the similarities, let's get those out of the way real quick. The DJI Osmo Action, internal memory. Now this does now have 64 megabyte or gigs of memory now. So 64 gigs here, only I think 22 here. So much smaller. Internal battery doesn't last very long. Internal battery on the device doesn't last very long either. And so once you pair it with the docking station, then you get a little extra battery. But you have to transfer that data back here before you can then upload it or download it, or however you want to, whatever expression you use, but in order to get it off of this device and into your computer, which is very similar here. You've got the images or the video here, you've got to download it here where the SD card is. SD card is right there. And so then you're able to take it from here and put it on your computer or your cell phone, if you have an iPhone or an Android. So I think those are very similar. The one thing I do like about the Insta360 is the fact that it's got the little legs, so it's got its own built-in tripod. You've probably seen that on YouTube already. But as far as the Action 2, I've watched a lot of videos about this particular product, and I've got to say that for the average everyday consumer, I like it. I like the functionality. I like the bigger screen on the back. It's bigger than the LCD screen here. It's bigger than the screen that I've got on the Osmo Pocket. And so I like how intuitive it is. It's very easy to use, just one single button. And so I found myself just throwing it in my pocket, going outside and being able to use it. Now what I don't like is the pendulum that you can put under your shirt, because the way the magnet works from the top, the bottom isn't secure. So when it's on your shirt, it does this, okay? And so it gets very wobbly. And so you have to come up with a different way. I've seen people put it under a shirt and then tape it to their chest to keep it from doing that. Whereas this is a disc. You get that disc and it when it's under your shirt, this whole thing presses against it so it doesn't really move around as much. So I get much more stable footage. And this is only 2.7K, where the Action 2 is a 4K image. So a much better lens and much better image quality here. But for what this does, I find myself using this. I took it on a vacation, was able to just put it on my shirt and take video when I needed it, so very convenient. So I see these two very similar. I would probably use this more for POV, and I would use this more probably for vlogging or for capturing, short, short things, capturing video and photography. And if you looked at, the clip, great pictures. And so you can put this in places you can't fit other cameras. And so I'm really excited about using this more. But just a real quick video to let you know, one, it's okay to not see the world like everybody else, and to make purchases like this that most people would probably shy away from, because in here with this camera, I think it's a diamond in the rough. I think you can get some really good image quality and get some video and some photos that other cameras just won't be able to get. And so sometimes when you think a little differently, you get different results, and sometimes they're better. So let me know down in the comments below if you think this is a better comparison for the DJI Action 2, and let me know what your thoughts are. Are you someone who sees this camera and says, yeah, I don't see the value? Do you like it? Do you have one? Have you thought about getting one? Are you on the fence? Let me know. And now's a good time. They're much less expensive than they were when they came out. So hey, that's the name of the channel, is low cost alternatives for your technology and fitness needs. So hey, with that, gonna let you go. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Let me know what you thought of the video down below, and if you're not already, hey, hit that subscribe button, and that way you can be notified when new episodes come out. So hey, this is Mike. This is Low Def Media, and we'll see you in the next one.